How many more dreams are you willing to let die before you take a leap of faith? Hi, everyone, and welcome to The Leaky Mind. My name is Jen B, and today we're diving into something that holds us back from so much fear. Yes, that feeling that we've all experienced at some point, whether we're trying to chase our dreams, start something new, or take that leap of faith. Let's talk about why that happens and how we can overcome it. So let's start with the basics. What exactly is fear? Psychologists define it as an emotional response to something that's perceived as a threat or a danger. Fear is a natural instinctive emotion that we all experience. It's a survival mechanism that helps protect us from harm. When we face danger, our bodies activate what is known as the fight or flight response. Now, this response gets our heart racing, it sharpens our focus, and it prepares us to act quickly. It's great when we're physically in danger, like if we're being chased by a wild animal or crossing the street. But here's the catch. In modern life, most of our dangers aren't in the physical, they're mental. Today, our fears tend to be more abstract, meaning that they're things that we can't even see. Fears of failure, fears of judgment, rejection, or even fears of success. And these fears, unlike physical threats, they often don't have any clear resolutions. They can linger and get bigger in our minds, and this is what keeps us stuck. And that's when fear starts to kill our dreams. Fear doesn't always show up with a dramatic, obvious bang. A lot of the time, fears work quietly, subtly keeping us stagnant. It whispers things like, "You're not good enough. What if you fail? Or what if people don't like you?" These whispers make us hesitate, procrastinate, or even avoid taking action altogether. And in this process, our dreams get buried. Here's the thing, when we let fear take over, we start to play small. We avoid risks, and instead of moving forward, we stay right where we are. And the longer that we stay stagnant, the more we give up on the things that truly matter to us. Dreams that could have changed our lives, our careers, or our relationships all get put on hold, or worse, forgotten entirely. Think about how many dreams you've let slip away because of fear. Maybe it's that business idea you've been sitting on for months, or that creative project you've been too scared to start, or maybe it's a relationship that never took off because you were too afraid to open up. The truth is, fear keeps us stuck, but if we never take action, we'll never know what we're capable of. And the worst part is, we'll never know what we're missing out on. Now let's talk about irrational fear. Irrational fear is a big kind of fear that doesn't make sense in the face of reality. It's the fear that holds us back from the things that are actually safe or beneficial to us. Think of it as a voice inside that tells you you're not ready, even when you know that you are, or the feeling that people will judge you even if they probably won't. Irrational fears thrive on what ifs. What if I fail? What if I'm not good enough? What if they laugh at me? These thoughts are usually exaggerated and don't tend to reflect the actual risk or outcome. They just hold us from taking action. And in many cases, they come from past experiences, societal pressures, or even from our own insecurities. So, how do we deal with this fear? How do we stop it from killing our dreams? Here's the first thing, acknowledge the fear. Fear doesn't just disappear if we ignore it. We have to face it head on. Start by identifying what you're afraid of and ask yourself, is this fear rational? Does it make sense given the situation? If the answer is no, then you know you're dealing with an irrational fear, and that's where the work can begin. Next, break it down. What I think could happen, what's the worst that could happen, and what's the likely outcome. Reality is somewhere in between the two of those things. Usually, the worst case scenario isn't as bad as our minds make it out to be. And often, if we take a risk, the payoff is much greater than we imagined. I'll give you a personal example. Last year, I went to Japan. I was freaking out several hours before I had to go to the airport. I had all the scenarios in my brain, And people don't really talk about how your brain can be your biggest op in these cases. Thankfully, I got on the plane, I went to Japan, and guess what happened when I got there? Absolutely nothing. None of the scenarios I had in my brain ever actually happened. The worst case scenario that actually happened was probably when I tried to go to a sushi restaurant and I got turned away because they didn't serve foreigners, but that's a completely different story. But I say all of this to say that every scenario where I thought I was going to get lost, or I couldn't find my hotel, or I was going to get stranded somewhere, none of that actually happened. The fun that I had on that trip was so valuable, and my future self is so thankful that I actually had the courage to go after what I wanted. Another key strategy is to take small steps. If your goal seems huge and overwhelming, break it down into smaller, more manageable chunks. Every small step you take toward your dream is progress. It's proof that you can overcome fear. I'll use my Japan trip as an example again. Just pressing the confirm button when I booked the trip almost sent me into a panic attack, but I finally found the courage to do it. I had about 7 months to prepare for the trip, so each month I would set a mini goal for myself. So that would include things like planning what days I wanted to see which places, sorting out my itinerary, making sure that I got different items that I needed to take with me to go there. So by the time that I was ready to travel, I still had a mini panic attack, but I felt very prepared by the time I got to the airport. Finally, take action. Fear can only control you if you let it. The more you act in spite of fear, the more you train your brain to see fear as something that you can move through rather than something that stops you. It's all about momentum. Even if it's just a small action today, it's a step towards making your dream a reality. So, I hope this video helped you understand a little bit better about how fear can hold us back from the things that we really want in life. Don't let fear control your dreams. Acknowledge it, question it, and take small steps to push past it. Remember, the only way that you truly fail is if you never try. This YouTube channel in and of itself is a major step for me, and if you're someone who's struggling with fear right now, I want you to know that you're not alone. But the only thing that's standing between you and your dreams right now is the courage to act upon them. And trust me, you already have that courage inside of you. Before I go, I want you to think about this question. How many more dreams are you willing to let die before you take a leap of faith? Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe for more content, and drop a comment below letting me know what fears you're working on right now. I would love to hear from you. Stay strong, face your fears, and keep dreaming big. I'll see you in the next video.